Parish Sheriff's Office Honor Guard, along with all of our community's first responders.
Welcome to the Big Easy in New Orleans, Louisiana, Archbishop Shaw Stadium. It's the NOLA Gold taking on the Glendale Raptors, and let's get right to it. The starting lineups look like this. Pete Steinberg, what do you think of the Glendale Raptors starting lineup?
Well, the big change in the Glendale Raptors lineup is the return of Ben Landry and Connor Cook, who are both coming back from red card suspensions of 3 games, and they'll fit in the second row. And then, of course, there's Bryce Campbell and Chad Lunn in the centers, 2 of the more physical center partnerships that you'll find in Major League Rugby. NOLA have had a lot of changes. They've really had an injury bug this season. And of course, they lost Eric Howard, the starting hooker, to the Canadian team. So local boy Cameron Falcon, Archbishop Shaw native, he's going to be playing here. And then the big addition is JP Eloff, back in at number 10, who was out for 3 weeks with chemical meningitis. So very unusual, but an exciting game coming up, and an important game for both of these teams.
Storylines aplenty. Our referee today, Chris Osmus, wearing the pink. He's the man you'll hear throughout the match. Fun thing in rugby, you hear the ref the entire time. So here we go. NOLA Gold and Glendale Raptors, as Taylor Howden, the captain for NOLA Gold, is set to kick off. And we are underway in the Crescent City. Connor Cook and Mika Cruze come down with the Cruze. Near the touchline, you'll see parts of the grass that have been added to this pitch, a high school football field. And the number 8 man, Sam Figg, with the ball. And here's Will Maggie, low line driver. Gets all the way to the winger, Jojo Tico Suva. Suva past the midline, and he goes down. Tackled by Peter Dahl. Holden Younger commanding the go-ahead. Look at the hooker rumble. Cameron Falcon, who played high school football here. There's JP Eloff. And a hard charging run as NOLA Gold gets near the 10-meter line. Stacked up, held up for a moment, and finally down, and Osmus blows the whistle. And a nice job by Glendale to hold him up.
So, you know, interesting kickoff. Wasn't cleanly played by Glendale, And then both teams are going to be looking to play territory. So when you're near your own line, you saw Will Maggie make that kick. And good return there by NOLA Gold. But then they were held up. And if you're held up, the other team gets the ball. So it's going to be a scrum down Glendale. Scrums will be a big part of this game, as they have been for all of the Major League Rugby season.
Just more space.
Referee,
they'll reset it.
Yeah, so referee will talk a lot early on to the front row, so the props, the hookers at the front, making sure the spacing is right, making sure the timing is right. Big challenge for the referee is both of these teams trying to get an edge, maybe by engaging a little bit early, maybe by closing the gap or increasing the gap. So the referee has to do a really good job of keeping these scrums fair.
And sometimes it takes a few minutes to get into a lather, get into the game. It is hot and very humid. It rained a lot yesterday. In fact, some water under the stands, and so these teams are warmed up already. Glendale successful as Sean Davies goes wide to Maggie, and now Harley Davidson on the all-name team in the Major League Rugby, still going, tackled by his fellow number 11, Tico Suva. Maggie into space, back to Sean Davies. Sean Davies inside the 22, looking for an offload opportunity, weaves his way, finally tackled.
Leave it now.
Great structure by Glendale, being able to move the ball very quickly to players running off each other. Tough to defend here by NOLA.
Landry, and that one tossed and attempted for Peter Dahl, but it's out. A good run of play for Glendale after Sam Figg and company went to the 5-meter line, but ultimately it's thrown out and a NOLA Gold line out is pending.
Talking to Nate Osborne earlier this week, he knew that they would have to be strong defensively, and they've had a big defensive week. But the pace that Glendale is playing at, with Sean Davies being able to move that ball, with Will Maggie being able to get into position quickly, makes it very tough for NOLA.
And Glendale steals the line out. Davies, Figg, nice run by Quill. Glendale knocking on the door, 3 minutes in. 1 meter out, Davies. Reassess, pick and jam, nearly dotted down, no reach. Glendale still knocking on the door. Davies picks it up. Maggie, inside run, tackle by Elof, ball is right there, and then dotted down, and the try is good for Glendale. 3.5 minutes into this contest.
Wow, just tremendous pace. There's not much that NOLA can do. They have to work to slow the ball down in that in that play, otherwise they're not going to be able to defend. Great start right off the blocks, exactly what Glendale wanted, to be able to put NOLA on the back foot, and now NOLA have to regroup. And you can see great tackle actually there to hold back by Elof, and you can see the ball comes out, and nice move by Maggie. And look at that line. When you hit the ground, you get to place the ball in any direction, and in most cases you want to place it back towards your team, but if you can place it forward and touch it down on the line, that is a try. Great play there.
Maggie will line it up. One of the best kickers, if not the best, in Major League Rugby so far this season. USA Eagle, 1 of 6. We'll talk about that throughout the broadcast. Age 26. From England, now playing for the U.S., and his conversion is good. So 7-0 Raptors, approaching 5 minutes into the contest.
As you said, Maggie is a very good kicker. He's a good kicker out of the hand, but what he showed in that sequence was his ability to play what we call flat, which means close to the defense. When the first receiver plays close to the defense can't actually move the ball. I mean, can't move with the ball, they get held, and that's what created the space for the runners off number 10. So I think we'll see more breaks and more runners coming off 10.
So 7-0 as Mika Cruze comes down with it. Bounces off of Connor Cook, who's back since that 3-game suspension. Davies, wide, almost dropped, kept alive. Down the sideline, the center, Bryce Campbell. Tackled by Youngert. Cook. And a big hit by the NOLA Gold near midfield. Maggie to the lock, Ben Landry. He and Connor Cook, as you mentioned. 3-game suspension in the first regular season game. This is their first time playing. Took till game 5 for high tackles, tip tackles. Near midfield, NOLA Gold with some stout tackling.
That's what they're going to need to do. They have to slow that down, slow down the attack, not let them get the fast ball.
Advantage being played for the Raptors. An offsides call. Cruze goes out of play, but they'll bring it back after the advantage, I believe.
Never onside.
And you heard Chris Osmus, offside, so they'll bring it back to where the advantage was. Let's check out our keys to the match. First for Glendale.
Number 2 just never got back.
So, you know, we're already seeing some of the stuff that Glendale's doing, which is really play to their pattern. That allows them to stretch the field. We haven't seen them on defense much, but that defense around the ruck to be able to hold that NOLA attack is going to be important. And taking opportunities, it's been the big challenge that Glendale have had. They've got into attacking opportunities, but they haven't turned pressure into points. But immediately here, the first time they get into NOLA's 22, they come away with the score. And so I think they're already living what they had. And NOLA are on their back feet. They're really struggling to live with the pace that Glendale is providing.
It'll be a line out for the Glendale Raptors. NOLA had a line out at the 5-meter line, but lost it, and then Glendale took advantage. So
yeah,
first line out for the Raptors.
That's right. Those mistakes NOLA have to be able to win this game against the unbeaten team in the league. They have to be more accurate. They, in particular, have to win their own set piece.
4-0 are the Glendale Raptors, 19 points, but in second place because you can get bonus points for scoring 4 or more tries and whatnot. So we'll explain that coming up and how the Seattle Seawolves has fared as Glendale loses the lineout. So both teams' first lineout lost, and JP Eloff will relieve some of the pressure and kick this down. And a nice kick that bounces past Seth Holloman, and he'll take it, the former USA Sevens player.
Great kick chase, and that's what makes a good kick, and that's what NOLA want to do. They want to push Glendale back into their own line, but it's hard because of the width that Glendale are playing for NOLA to be able to defend. They're really stretching the NOLA defense. Excellent
set of passes and quick ones as Felipe Fifita has it, and he offloads to Blake Rogers, the prop. Maggie wide again to John Quill, the vice captain. Connor Cook in the ruck there helping out. And Glendale draws the penalty from NOLA Gold.
Number 9, roll away.
You got to roll away after the tackle.
So what you saw on the outside was Matt Houston shooting up, because the pace that Glendale are having, it means that the NOLA defense isn't able to stretch and spread the field. So you could see Matt Houston being able to, come up and really take that up. But it's going to be a real challenge, because here we are right back down again.
Nice kick from Will Maggie, who's one of those 6 players for Glendale who will rejoin the USA camp. Those guys were in camp in Glendale Monday through Wednesday, then released to be able to play with their respective teams. And they will have a couple of test matches for the USA coming up. So second offering from Dylan Fawcett in the lineout, and the first successful lineout for either team. We're at the 9-minute mark. A maul, about 8 meters out. Glendale still churning. Maul still going. And that massive humanity. NOLA Gold trying to keep him out. Taylor Howden, and ball comes loose. And then Matt Houston knocks it on.
Great defense there by NOLA. They were able to defend the maul. Even though they were going forward, they were able to successfully defend that maul. And then when the ball came out, they put enough pressure to create the turnover, and Matt Houston found himself with a bouncing ball in front of him, and he just wasn't sure what to do. And he tried to pick it up, and if he had tried to kick it, it would have been fine, but he tried to kick it up, it hit his hand, so the referee says it's a knock-on. I mean, the way Glendale are playing, you have to expect them to be able to get some points. This is the best attacking position on the field, is a scrum in the middle.
Glendale puts up nearly 32 points a game. One of the top scoring teams as that scrum goes to ground. The 6 Eagles for the Glendale Raptors: Will Maggie, Bryce Campbell, Sean Davies. Scrum half will insert it here in a moment. Dylan Fawcett, Ben Landry, and John Quill. That's the second most of any team in MLR. 7 for San Diego's the most, then a handful scattered around the league. 18 of the 30 are from MLR in the USA camp.
Yeah,
that's good news for USA.
It is. It's the first time that the US has ever had a full squad of professional players. But for teams like Glendale, it means for the last 3 games of the regular season, they're going to be missing some of their best players. So it's going to put a real challenge on the depth of both Glendale and San Diego.
Maggie wide. Cruze dots it down, and well done out of the scrum to quickly get to the touchline, and Glendale is on the board. It's 12-0.
So that all came from a solid scrum that they had where they were really able to dictate where they wanted to go, and just great handling. And as I said, Will Maggie is doing just a phenomenal job of standing flat. So you can see he takes this ball moving. That way he holds the defense. It's a great timed pass by Chad London, and then a real easy score by Cruze. Just too easy right now for Glendale. NOLA need to tighten up. NOLA also had a very poor start last week and went down very quickly, but then they recovered. So let's see if they can recover this week.
Cruze, age 19, from Fresno, California. A couple of teenagers on this Glendale squad. They've got a nice academy set up, and they've been established for a few years. Kind of the team that came into the league with a lot of history and their own stadium, of course. So NOLA Gold establishing itself in a good way as well. But look at a 12-0 deficit, potentially 14 if this kick is good. It is low, but it is through. Will Maggie with a nice kick, basically as far away as you can kick this. And it's 14-0 as Maggie is now 15 of 18 in conversions on the year. Fantastic.
That really is, and that's why he's in the Eagle squad. Having a kicker that can be that consistent is a real game winner, and it's been a game winner for Glendale in their games this season, where they have played well but never actually blown any teams out. And so with this start, I think Dave Williams, the coach, will want to see them put their foot down and really put NOLA away throughout this first half.
4 games played for Glendale as they reset, and 3 of those decided by 4, 7, and 4. So you're right, no blowouts there, as that ball fortuitously bounces into the hands of Chad London, and now Glendale's on the run. Peter Dahl. Fit as a whistle, and look at Glendale go. NOLA on their heels, ball pops out. Advantage being played, and NOLA with an opportunity here. Not a lot of possession so far for the NOLA Gold. Seeing if they can't make something of this.
Right now, they need to hold on to this ball a little bit, NOLA. What you would want to do normally in this part of the field is you want to kick, but they first, one of probably the second only ruck, I think, maybe the third ruck in the whole of the first 13 minutes, 15 minutes by NOLA, and Glendale give away a penalty. That's really disappointing. You want to make sure just to defend. But this gives NOLA a chance to take a deep breath, get into position, win this line out, and actually get some possession and play in Glendale's half.
So line out coming for the NOLA Gold, 2 and 3 on the year, 12 points. Tied for 4th. Nate Osborne, the head man, Australian, coached the backs for the U.S. in the 2015 World Cup, and trying to get his guys with an advantage with the humidity. They practiced this week at 3 p.m. in the afternoon just to soak it in literally and try and take advantage of this, especially at the end of each half when it can get, you can be a little tired and a little more wet.
That's right. I mean, the conditions down here in the south have had an impact so far in a lot of the games that we've had in Major League Rugby. But so far, the handling's been great. And so maybe it isn't going to be such an impact as it's been in the past. That ball was stripped.
Knock on off Blue in the tackle.
But it's going to be a knock on Glendale. So NOLA will retain possession, down 14-0, 15 minutes in to this hot and heavy contest. And you look at the weather, 93 degrees, but feels like 105 because it is so humid.
And it's one of those things that at the start of the game, you come out and you can get into it. But for Glendale, when you get to that 30th minute mark in the first half, that's when the humidity is really going to get you. Of course, Glendale come down from altitude, being up in Colorado. So they might have a bit of an advantage there, but it's certainly a very, very different experience down here in New Orleans.
Holden Youngert will put it in, the former D1A Player of the Year in 2017 at St. Mary's. Nice inside run. And the captain, or excuse me, Tim Maupin with a nice run there. Youngert will take it himself as NOLA gets a few phases together. It's Matt Houston. Excuse me, that is Biden's. And a big tackle on Testimony Tongawea.
Penalty advantage, incorrect entry. Leave it.
Quick start from Youngert. Off to Matt Houston. Houston at the 22. Best field position for NOLA Gold in the match so far. And another penalty for Glendale.
Real lack of discipline right now for Glendale is really giving NOLA some momentum. Although it was a great run by Tim Malpin who made that break, but then when the ball was there was nothing that Youngert could do. He ended up taking the ball himself. That's really disappointing. They need to be able to, when they get that quick ball, they need to be able to play with it and do something useful. Attacking along the edge is not what you want to do.
It's been a while, the last week of April, since Glendale has played with this group full strength together because they've had some injuries. And then we mentioned Connor Cook and Ben Landry had a 3-game suspension each because they both got red cards for tip tackles in week 1. So they perhaps may be getting used to each other again.
Well, I mean, I think you might be being a little kind there. I would say it's probably you had a quick start and then you thought that you could get away with everything.
Ball.
I'll lean on the kindness side. And is NOLA Gold in? They are nearly in, knocking on the door. It's going to be a pick and jam keeper here. Glendale Stout.
Leave it now.
At contact. Trying to dot it down. NOLA Gold trying to get on the board. 17 minutes in, down 14-0. Now it's wide and taken away. And Bryce Campbell hands off to Sean Davies, and he is off to the races. The South African will outrun. No, he's tackled. Excellent tackle by Cameron Troxler to make Glendale put some phases together. A try-saving tackle as Bryce Campbell plows his way near the 22. What a chase down by Troxler.
That was a great open field tackle. Local guy really showing what it's like to play on this field, which he did as a football player back in his high school
number
days.
12, never onside.
Some hard running advantage, Glendale.
Thank you.
Little grubber through the middle. Troxler all over it like he was a moment ago. And he'll dot this one down, but the advantage, I believe, will come back
12,
to Glendale as Taylor Howden, the captain, was offside.
So
another look at this.
Yeah, so close, but when you're near to that line, it's really hard to make those long passes. So Youngert was trying to get that to Elof, and I thought Shane Davies was gone, and what a great effort by Troxler to be able to get there and prevent that try. But I mean, really disappointing from NOLA within less than a meter within the line, and not to be able to come away with some points is really, really tough.
Certainly disappointing, approaching 20 minutes into this one, and now Glendale trying to tack on a third try.
Thank you.
At the 5-meter line as Will Maggie sent it out.
Near the line, and you can actually hear it through the referee's mic, you heard the Glendale player say, hit the beach, and that means that when you're defending, you go really low like you're diving into sand, and they did a great job near the line when NOLA had the ball.
Yeah, hit the beach means something else to me. You know, I'm like, yeah, I got my swim trunks, I'm ready to go. The mall's formed at the 5-meter line. NOLA Gold, so far so good. And withstanding that, sliding to the left.
Advantage, incorrect entry.
And an advantage being played, as you hear from Chris Osmus. Just driving into the try zone, and there it is. And the try is good. The third try, and now 19-0, Glendale Raptors.
Wow, so just really efficient and great patience there by Glendale in the maul. When you set up the maul, the ball has to be near the back, and so but you can move along the edge and you can roll through it. You can see them handing the ball back and being really patient, adding players on, and then once it gets over the line, you have to get that ball down, which is sometimes the challenge. But if the ball is all the way at the back, it's easy to put that down. So bit of a replay here for NOLA. If Maggie makes this kick, that makes it 21-0, which was exactly the same score that NOLA were down last week to, I think, the Seattle Seawolves, but that was after 10 minutes. So, but NOLA did show the ability to come back. They had a great 10-minute period where they scored 3 tries. So they've got it in them to score quickly, but they need to just get that ball in some better positions and hold on to it.
Looked like John Quill was the man that dotted it down for the third try. Remember, you get a bonus point for scoring 4 or more tries, as Maggie goes wide right and misses his first conversion of the day and just his third of the season.
And John Quill is one of about 40 players in the states that's playing in MLR that have a Irish heritage.
All right, we'll step aside. A 60-second hydration break. Glendale all over it, 19-0, 20 minutes in. Major League Rugby is brought to you by Budget Saver, a cost-plus store. NOLA LED, leading your business to a brighter tomorrow. And by Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you. Welcome back to Archbishop Shaw Stadium in Marrero, Louisiana, just outside New Orleans. I'm Jeremy Jordan alongside Pete Steinberg, who coached Penn State to like 50,000 national titles with the women's side. And then Team USA. Here we are in a hot and sweaty New Orleans where Glendale has really jumped out quick, 19-0 through the first 20.
Yeah, and I think that there was a good break there for NOLA to be able to gather themselves, pull everything together, and just say, okay, let's take a big deep breath and let's start this again. We did it last week. We were able to come back. They need some possession, but when they've only had the possession really once, and a couple of penalties by Glendale allowed them to get down near their line, but they just weren't able to get that score. So even though it's 19-0 after 20, NOLA had an opportunity so close to the line, didn't take it, and then Glendale took it and then took the opportunity. So Glendale's been so efficient inside the 22 of NOLA, and that's been the difference in the game.
Okay, after the hydration break, which is much needed for everybody, fans included, we'll restart. So this one sent out and inside the 22, but just marked out outside the 22. So NOLA with an opportunity here.
Kickoffs are so important for momentum, and what we're seeing there was that Chad London took the ball. It was a great kickoff. His clearance was poor, and now NOLA find themselves with another opportunity to take advantage. Great attacking position.
Cameron Falcon playing hooker today with Eric Howard in the Canadian camp. If the game had been played yesterday, Howard could have played, but Canada called their players today. And it looks like there's a turnover as Glendale will get it back. You heard the early transfer. Out of the maul, there's certain rules on what you can do.
That's right. So what you cannot do in a maul is you cannot be unbound and in front of someone. And so you cannot block, basically. So in American football, you can block. In rugby, you can't block. But in a maul, you can move the ball back as long as the players that in front of you are bound on and the players behind you are bound on. And he said early transfer, which I think he moved it back and players weren't bound.
Okay, Davies goes to London. Maggie. Halliman, tackled by Howden. There's Maggie, one of those 6 Eagles in camp. Prepare for a couple of test matches coming up. Biden on the tackle. Wide, big hit as down goes Fifita.
NOLA need to just keep them here, no line breaks, and put Glendale in a position where they have to kick the ball away. They'll get a good attacking position.
And there it is, you called it. Maggie sends this one bouncing back all the way to Cameron Troxler, who made a try-saving tackle a few moments ago on Sean Davies. A little bit of width, but solid tackle by the number 8, Sam Figg. And counter ruck, and Glendale takes it back. Distributed backwards, and it'll roll into touch. It's going to be a NOLA line out, but nice defense and counter ruck by the Raptors out of the Denver area.
So right here, the ball comes out, and this is where the physicality of the game comes in. Great tackle that comes in by
Testimony Tungawea.
Good job, Tungawea, right there. Thank you very much. Great tackle, and then there was another great tackle by Sam Figg on the kick chase. And other than a little handling error, Glendale actually had that ball. But again, NOLA have a chance right here. See if they can hold on to the ball, go through some phases, and create some opportunities.
So the line out at exactly midway, bounces up, and another turnover.
Flat.
Question of a knock-on or not, and it is a knock-on.
From the contest.
One of the great things that we have is when we listen to the referee is that on either sideline, he'll be talking to his assistant referee. So right there, he said, hey, was that a knock-on? And the assistant referee said, yep, that's a knock-on. And so we come in here for a scrum, but that's 2 lineouts by NOLA that Glendale have been able to poach, and that's a worrying trend. Like we said, they have to be able to win their set piece to win this game, and they haven't done that in the lineout so far.
I would love to have heard what the refs were saying at the end of game 1 of the NBA Finals with the Tristan Thompson thing. Like, I want the refs mic'd up in other sports, not just rugby. I think that'd be fantastic.
Well, it's part of the value of the game. So first of all, we can mic it up because you're not going to hear any foul language out there by the players.
That's
you're
the
going to
hope.
hear respect to the referee. So there's a lot of respect that happens, and so we're able to listen to the referee.
Bind. Set. Yeah, hold.
Youngert puts the ball back. The hooker kicks it back. And Youngert reaches in and grabs it. Here's JP Eloff, who has not touched the ball very much in this first half. Good to see him back after missing 3 games with chemical meningitis.
No problem.
Practice this week. He's feeling okay. Probably won't go 80 today, according to Nate Osborne, his head coach. Falcon knocking over some guys on his way to a ruck. Here's Hubert Bidens, 43 caps with Canada.
I'm just going to stop the game here. Too close.
And there was an injury, so they stopped the game because it looks like Kalipi Fifita was down. And it's taking a moment to see if he's okay.
Well, what you're seeing from NOLA is they're really trying to take on forwards in the middle of the field, and that's creating a lot of real challenge. I'm not sure. I think they've got some opportunities out wide if they can look to move the ball, but every time they've had a break, Youngert has got to the breakdown, and the ball's just been coming out just a little bit too slow. Their structure hasn't quite been right.
And you see Fifita come in and he gets kicked in the face.
Yeah, not nice when that happens.
Trying to tackle Falcon, and yeah, I wouldn't want to tackle Falcon, let alone get kicked in the face. So Fifita stays in there. 26 minutes in, 19-0 Raptors scored in the 4th, 12th, and 20th minute. 2 for 3 on the conversions for Will Maggie, and that's how we've come to this point of the match.
Fifita, of course, a former Northern Arizona football player, defensive lineman, so great to see athletes of that ability out here. So right there, so this is one of the interesting things. There's been a lot of discussion about Major League Rugby referees and how they've refereed the scrum. And you would say that probably Glendale probably have the edge, and the and right there, what referee Asmus said was that Blake Rogers wasn't square. He was driving in, and that's one of the things that they're looking at. Oh,
and this ball kept in. He was trying to go into touch or out of bounds. And looks like Sean Davies, I don't know if he was quite ready, and he'll send this into touch inside the 22, and it stays in bounds. Youngert looking for space, running at the ref, Asmus. And here's a run by Troxler. Howden with the grubber. It's going to be a chase. Howden with the chance here. And the bounce goes to NOLA Gold, and they dot it down. Nicely done on the grubber by Taylor Howden, the captain, as NOLA gets on the board.
And that's one of the things that you do when you see the defenses rush up hard, is you kick behind them, and it was a great kick. It was a really, really rough bounce. I think that was Halleman that was really struggling there. Really rough bounce, but that's one of the reasons why you do those little grubber kicks and you let it bounce around a little bit to make it hard to field. And that's exactly what NOLA needed to get back into this game.
Nice kick by Howden, and then Joey Soak goes after it, and it takes a fortuitous bounce away from Seth Halleman. And Soak right there dots it down, and NOLA gets 5 and are on the board. And that was the kind of break that they needed down 19-0.
I think so, and you know, I think that it's been the penalties of Glendale that have given NOLA this opportunity. And if I'm Dave Williams, the Glendale coach, I'm pretty upset with the penalty count that Glendale are really racking up. So far, NOLA's attack hasn't broken Glendale, and so it's one of those things where you end up saying, all right, well, if they're not breaking us, let's not give away the penalty. Let's not give away the easy 10 meters or the easy kick to touch. The other thing I would say is that that all came from Howden's missed kick, right? So it all came from Howden's missed kick.
Some chaos occurred,
and there was kickbacks, and so maybe they need to open that game up a little bit and play a little bit more in the open field.
JP Eloff goes wide left. So it'll stay 19-5, but NOLA Gold get on the board. And one of the advantages that NOLA Gold has on Glendale is not only the humidity, but the familiarity with what's considered to be probably the widest pitch in all of MLR. So they can use that field. Maybe they got a chance to get back in this one. And it looks like We'll reset here in a moment. 29 minutes in, this NOLA crowd, which has included John Goodman, the actor from week 1, wondering if he showed up today, but nice crowd here at Archbishop Shaw Stadium, and the NOLA Gold trying to carry this momentum into this last 10 minutes where perhaps the humidity could be the advantage that they are used to. Tongawea.
So it's all going to be about the exit and your ability.
Leave it now, Glendale.
Your ability to get out of your half. I think NOLA have to do this. They have to hold on to the ball a little bit more and make something happen.
Nice bruising run past the 22 for John Sullivan, who normally plays 8. He's playing a flanker today. And here's Houghton. Will Maggie. Back over to the fullback, Seth Halliman. Halliman, missed tackle by Houston. Tackle by NOLA Gold. Soak with the tripping tackle.
Good defense here by NOLA. They just want to be able to hold them up. Don't let them play quickly. Slow the ball down just like that with some counter rucks. Now they can set their defense.
Maggie with the nice dummy. Goes back and then Houghton takes it away. Excuse me, Falcon. Advantage for NOLA Gold.
Advantage over.
Malpin. Falcon comes up. Here's the captain, Taylor Houghton. This one a high kick, giving Joey Soak a chance to go over. Halliman underneath it.
Taken back!
Halliman fakes to Cruze, wide. Cruze had some space. Dylan Fawcett, Davies. Bounces backwards. Still good for Glendale, a lot of space. Look at Blake Rogers go, throws it to Cruze. And Cruze,
Forward pass here.
a forward pass called from Blake Rogers.
So it's interesting because you're seeing the game break up a little bit. We talked about how the last 10 minutes of the half in this heat and humidity, people are going to get tired, and we're beginning to see that. You can see some of the Glendale players down on their knees as they're trying to recover. But what Glendale don't want to do is they don't want to get into this wide open game throwing the ball about. They remember one of their keys is play to their structure. So when they get those balls, they need not offloads, not trying to do extra stuff, play the basic stuff, and most importantly, play in NOLA's half. Glendale keep throwing this ball around, creating those turnovers. It's playing into NOLA's hands where their athletes can really do some damage.
So a scrum coming for the NOLA Gold, 2-3 on the season. Now 19-5.
Time on, please. Crouch.
And
Bind.
Youngert, the scrum half.
Set.
Played some USA teams.
Use it.
He's one of the rising lights of US rugby. I think he's going to be playing for the US at some point soon.
NOLA tackled inside their 22. Glendale trying to take it back, and it looks like they did.
First infringement, off feet.
So Glendale off their feet. You can get in
Time off.
on the ruck, but you can't get off your feet. So it's going to be
also
a
secondary infringement handling
kick
the ball on the
coming
ruck.
from
Number
NOLA
13
Gold
hands on the
and a
ground.
touch from Taylor
Same
Houghton.
issue as before.
Yeah, so the referee is saying that Chad London came in, and you could see, and he was free to poach the ball, but his hands ended up on the ground, and you have to support your weight. You cannot have your hands go on the ground when you go and poach the ball. Again, a missed opportunity given away by a penalty by Glendale. I mean, I think Dave Williams will have a key message at half-time that will be discipline, 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 both in terms of their structure and in terms of their penalties. But NOLA have struggled in the line-out, so at some point, we're going to see them shorten the line out even more than they have. They've dropped off a couple of players here. That makes it a little bit easier for them to be able to win the ball.
Cameron Falcon, one batted back. NOLA Gold in the last 7 minutes or so, trying to tack on some more points. Cameron Falcon, who played high school football here. Ben Tarr, 5'11", 247.
Nothing.
And JP Eloff into space, one of the big playmakers for NOLA Gold. He's missed the last 3 weeks with an illness. A big tackle by Chad London, and Cam Troxler being held up. And a tap and go on the penalty against Glendale. Youngert, tackled by Fig, big hit. Bidens. Nikola Bursic. Ball pops out. Bidens. NOLA with a bit of possession here with 6 minutes left in the half. And Glendale takes it back. Davies, nice fake as Matt Houston read that one. Bryce Campbell, that one pops out. And a knock on.
Again, playing off the cuff, you could see them throwing the ball around. They cannot play into NOLA's hands. And you can see JP Eloff with his feet. Such a beautiful runner. But here you go, the pass was over the top. He takes the ball, there's good defense. Great hit coming in from the side by Houston, who is a real star of this NOLA team. In fact, Nate Osborne was saying to us before the game, he's one of the surprises of the season. Came out of Charlotte Rugby, D2 player, trying to, wondering what this guy would give, but he has such a motor that he just goes and goes and goes, and it's open side flanker that's so critical. Obviously, player of the match out of week 6. Crouch. A real player to watch and showed his physicality in that time.
Bind. Set.
Houston, #1 mullet in the league, and one of the #7s real quality in the league as well.
Just a reset.
They'll reset it. I think that's been a revelation in MLR. Is we've known that there are good players all over the country. In the D1A level, it's like BYU and Cal forever. But there are players scattered throughout the country that are getting opportunities. And now in MLR, we're seeing them shine even more.
That's right. I mean, I think it's part of it is taking players like Matt Houston, who haven't been in this elite professional environment, and giving them the tools and the support to be the best player they can be. When you're playing in D2 rugby, you've got to look after yourself. Most of the time, you have to manage your own workouts. But here, they're really pushed, and he's really thrived in this NOLA environment.
Holden Youngert on the NOLA Gold scrum. 4 minutes to go in the first half. Glendale up 19-5. JP Eloff into space. Nice right step. Passes to Howden near the 22. Howden is tackled. Trying to get some support from Youngert. Being pushed back and then kicked backwards. And Troxler trying to come up with it. And nicely done because there were 2 Raptors on his tail.
Lack of support there by Houston is causing a real problem for them. They're getting go forward, but they're not getting the support that they need.
McGee, and throws it out of bounds. Miscommunication. I think Campbell wanted an inside run, and McGee thought he was going outside.
Well, that's one of the things when you get near to the sideline, you're always taught when you get past the 5-meter line and you're near the sideline, come back inside. But also the ball carrier wanted to commit that last player. So McGee wanted to commit the last player. A little bit of confusion, real disappointing. But we are into that last 10 minutes of the half where things are really beginning to tell. In terms of physically, are they able to respond? We saw again Eloff, his ability to be able to break down defenses on his own, and Howden up there to take the ball, but just not enough support from NOLA in the contact.
JP Eloff, fantastic player, older brother, of course. Played with the U.S. and now NOLA Gold trying to add something before the half. Joey Soak, who scored the try.
Backwards.
Offload, but out of bounds.
Well, you can see when their playmakers get the ball in some space, they can really do some damage. They haven't done that enough, but you can see how dangerous they are. So even though the Raptors went up 19-0, NOLA Gold are 1 try and a conversion away from being able to do something special. So look at this run. Took on McGee, was able to offload, Howden was, and then watch the footwork. Get around by Soak, able to come through, just not able to get there. There were 2 players outside of him, both Troxler. I think Troxler was outside of him. If that had gone to hand, that was a try. That was really dangerous for Glendale.
So throw in for the Glendale Raptors, outside of Denver. 4-0, only undefeated team in the league, 19 points.
Play on. Leave it now.
Casual lack of a catch there. And now NOLA with an opportunity, a couple minutes before the half. Eloff dancing in space. Youngert looked for Houston, now taken away by Glendale. Glendale with the turnover.
Second time they're being able to take away a Youngert pass, a flat pass, by being able to come up and get that. Either they're offside or Youngert's pass is just a little bit too slow.
Davies, Maggie, Peter Dahl, the flanker. Minute and a half. Halliman. Good tackle by Tungawea. Davies back to Connor Cook. Cook to Cruze. Nice step, but he's tackled by Soak.
Don't wait anybody to do anything. Come on.
Hooker on hooker crime. Cameron Falcon with a nice tackle on Fawcett. McGee, this one pops out. It's a knock-on. Kicked, still alive. And whistle finally comes as we have a fun entanglement between Youngert and Fawcett.
All the players are physically feeling the heat and humidity here. You can see it every break.
Look at those two.
They're going down on their knees. I mean, and this is both sides. This is really brutal rugby weather. You know, rugby is a winter sport, and down here in the south, we're already into the summer heat, and it's really beginning to tell. Some great play there by Glendale, but again, their issues that were exhibited earlier on in the season are still there, which is just not being able to take those opportunities when they present themselves.
So approaching the end of the first half, of course, bleeds beyond 40 as Chris Osmus sees it for any stoppages. And Youngert prepares for the scrum here. At the end of the half, 19-5, Glendale Raptors jumped out 19-0 in the 28th minute. NOLA Gold got on the board. And these two teams probably content just to get in at the break here, unless someone rips off something long and in a hurry right before the end of the half as we are into extra time.
Well, I think NOLA in particular right now are just, they're in their own half. Unless something really exciting happens from this first phase, they're probably going to look just to play in the opposite half and just get out of here.
Eloff and potential advantage played. Here's Troxler. Troxler's trying to stay in bounds. Cruze with the tackle from behind. Soap comes up, waiting for someone to take it. Tongawea was the guy that took it. This is John Sullivan. So NOLA Gold being given a chance here to dot this down if they can get it that far. Tongawea tackled hard. Youngert looking for the ball and then taken away, but NOLA gets the penalty, and a yellow card is being given here to Sam Figg. Well, so he'll be out for the rest of the half and 9 or 10 minutes in the second half.
So I think this is, Chris Osman has had enough. He had a conversation with Sean Davies about tackle contest penalties. Hands in, not rolling away, and he talked to them, and when you give a warning, what the referee normally says is, look, you need to tidy this up one more time, and what we're going to do is I'm going to have to send someone to the bin. So even though Sam Figg may not have given away the Sam Figg may not have been able to give away the penalties before, because he was the last one, he's the one that gets the penalty. And I think what we're going to find is that they're going to be looking to kick to touch and then see if they can actually really close this before the half.
So Figg will be out for 10 minutes. We'll see how much time is allotted in this half and how much he'll have to have. But he might be happy to be out of the game right now, given how hot and humid it is right now. Peter Dahl being attended to, excuse me, Ben Landry, the lock, as you see him on your screen walking towards the sideline as well. Some blood on his left cheek.
Yeah, we hope that's all it is, and Gary Gold, the USA coach, is definitely hoping that Ben Landry just has a little bit of blood. When you have blood, you are able to go off, you get some time, you get 15 minutes to see if that blood can be fixed, and you're able to bring onto a replacement for that time. So Ben Landry will go off, he'll get a lot of time because we'll have the halftime as well, and I expect to see him back on the field in the second half.
Cody O'Neill comes in, another look at what happened. You see Landry go in hard there.
Great kick. Here we are, attacking platform. I'm pretty certain they're going to take this down, look to drive it, and if they can get this try, NOLA will be pretty happy considering how they started to get out of here in touch.
So Landry will be attended to, and a line out at the 5-meter line, and 3 minutes into extra time in the first half, and the line out is overthrown. So and then McGee will just send it out, and it is halftime. So NOLA with an opportunity. They had 2 possessions inside the 5-meter line. 0 points out of those 2.
Absolutely. So NOLA will walk away saying, all right, we struggled a little bit in the first 10 minutes, to first 15 minutes, but after that, we've actually been pretty good in this game. And so they'll be disappointed not to take the points when they've been near the line.
We've got Nate Osborne, the head coach for NOLA Gold, on the headset. And Nate, your thoughts on that first half? A couple of opportunities squandered inside your 5.
Yeah, mate, we've got to be more clinical in that down in the green zone. We talk about coming away with points every time we entered, and we just didn't do it in the first half. And that's kind of the difference in the game right now.
Now, the game, when it opens up, Nate, it looks like you guys have some runners that can really do Glendale some damage, but support seems to be lacking when you take the ball into contact. How are you going to address that in the second half?
Yeah, we just got to talk about our attack shape. I think we're getting a little flustered. We're trying to go too wide too early at times, and we're giving away stupid penalties, which is what's really putting us on the back foot when we're getting good attacking opportunities.
Well, good luck in the second half, and we appreciate the time, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
It's Nate Osborne, NOLA Gold head coach. We'll step aside. Glendale jumped out 19-0. NOLA put on 5, had some chances, squandered them. Down 14 at the half. We'll have highlights coming up after this commercial break.
Rugby. We also want to thank our sponsor, Outback Marathon, the official after-match meal provider of NOLA Gold. Visit Joey at Outback Marathon. No rules, just right. NOLA Media Group. Thank you to the NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, Louisiana's largest news organization and your source for news, sports, and entertainment. LCMC Sports Medicine. Gold Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you. The official bank of the NOLA Gold. NOLA LED. Leading your business to a brighter tomorrow. Official lighting company of the NOLA Gold. The Falcon Law Firm. Budget Saver. A Cost Plus store. Official grocer of the NOLA Gold. Tullamore New. The original triple blend Irish whiskey. The official Irish whiskey of the NOLA Gold. Event Restrooms. Official portable restroom provider of NOLA Gold. New Orleans Event Rental. Best Western Plus. On Enterprises. Linen and Uniform. We also want to thank the rest of our sponsors. Lift Pain Center. Sutherland Family Dental. Smile with us every day. New Orleans Steamboat Company. C&D Plumbing and Air Conditioning. Sweet Shack Snowballs. Markel Lumber. We bring the wood. Klinger and Marshall Dermatology. Doctors Same-Day Surgery. Additionally, fans, you can become a lifetime ticket holder. You can get the golden ticket for just $999 to get you into every single NOLA Gold home game for the rest of your life. You can visit NOLAGoldRugby.com for more information.
Enjoy the air conditioning in your house because it feels like 100 plus here in the Crescent City in New Orleans, and we had an eventful first half. Glendale up 19-5 on NOLA Gold. Pete, let's check out some of the first half highlights.
Well, it was a great start by Glendale. They really came out firing, and I think a lot of this had to do with McGee and his ability to stand flat and help Glendale get over the line. Great ball placement there. And of course, McGee's also a great kicker, so he was 2 for 3 in the first half. So he did miss one, but it was a pretty tough chance. Great one right there. And then great hands. McGee is flat. Beautiful pass by London. Easy score by Cruze into the corner. There was nothing much NOLA could do at the start. Another wonderful from the touchline conversion. Didn't get a lot of height, line drive, but went right through. We thought this was going to be a blowout because it was all Glendale at the start. A beautiful driving maul, great structure, great communication, and then finally put down by Quill. 19-0 at this point after 28 minutes, but NOLA were not done. Great kick by Howden. bouncing ball. Halloman wasn't able to get it. Soak was there, put it over the line, give NOLA a chance to be able to play.
19-5 is the score. We'll step aside and show you after the break the standings. Why Glendale's 4-0, but not in first place. It's coming up after the break. $19-5 is the score. Glendale over NOLA here at halftime in New Orleans. Let's check out the Major League Rugby standings. Seattle on top of the table right now with 25 points. Glendale 4-0, but not number one.
Not number one because they've actually played 2 games less than Seattle, having had both of their bye weeks. But the interesting thing about the standings is they include bonus points. You get a bonus point for 4 tries and losing within 7, and that's why the Houston SaberCats, even though they're 1-5, still have a chance to make the playoffs.
Top 4 make the playoffs. NOLA just out, looking in, 3 points out in 5th place, trying to get a result here against Glendale. Second half's coming up in a moment. Major League Rugby from New Orleans. Shot of downtown, 19-5 the home side and its fans down 14. Had a couple of chances inside the 5-meter line, squandered one early and one late. And they are hanging out in the shade as they should be on this hot and humid day. Here is a look at the Raptors reserves. We've already seen Cody O'Neill come into the match early, and we'll see who else potentially could come in. The Glendale depth will be tested not just today, but the next 3 weeks, because this is the last week with the 6 Eagles who will join the U.S. They'll be testing the depth.
That's right, and I think that particularly at 9 and 10 with Davies and McGee, it's a challenge. And with NOLA Gold, for both teams, when we get into the second half, it's going to be, the depth is going to be important. Alec Janotka, who was recently called up this week because there was another injury that NOLA Gold had. They lost Eric Howard, and then they lost another hooker. He's here from New York, actually worked with NOLA Gold a little bit earlier on. And we have Brennan Falcon, who would also like to see the pitch. And when he does, he joins his brother on their high school football pitch. So that's actually very exciting for them to be able to get on the game.
Here's a look at what's coming up later this week. Seattle's at Austin. Nice win by Austin Elite over Utah this week to climb into the top 4. Houston at Glendale. As we mentioned, Glendale's depth will be tested in that one as Kyle Assumption and the SaberCats show up. And then the next day, San Diego comes here to Archbishop Shaw Stadium to take on NOLA Gold. And what's been interesting is there's been great parity in this. No one's necessarily out of it or has clinched quite yet. Seattle's been impressive. But let's take a look at the results the last couple of days this week. As we mentioned, Utah went to Austin and lost that one by 8, so didn't get the point. Austin with an impressive showing there. Added some players this week that really made a difference. And then Seattle beat Houston's 20-7 last night. Yeah, I mean, I think that the parity has been really incredible for a first-year league. There have been very, very few blowouts, and all teams have been in it. Up until the last 10 or 15 minutes. I think that it's one of the great parts of this league, and it makes me tune in every week. I mean, I have to admit that Dan Power and I on our Major League Rugby podcast 2 weeks in a row we've said Austin are going to lose. In fact, we said there's no way Austin are going to win, and what do? They come out and win, and they win well. It's absolutely fabulous. So if you're a rookie to rugby, no worries. Let's explain it to you. There's some basics for you here. And so there's 15 players on the field at any time. There are 8 replacements that can come in. Everyone gets to play offense and defense. There's 5 ways to score. We've seen a try and a conversion, but you can also get penalties. And there's the penalty try, which we've seen in the season, and also the rare drop goal. We've only been 2 attempted all year. I need more of those. Let's go. We do. You can't pass the ball forward, which means you always have to be backwards, and when a tackle happens, the game doesn't end. And it's actually been at the tackle that Glendale have been really dominant. They've had 6 turnovers at the tackle. They've been able to turn that ball over. That has been the thing that has prevented NOLA from being able to play. And as we talked to Nate Osborne right before the half, it's the lack of support. And he said, we need to get our attacking structure right, so when the ball carrier gets tackled, there's a supporter there to be able to clear out. Those girls have the right idea. Stay in the shade, try and stay cool, hydrated, and the 2 teams are back out on the pitch, and the second half is about ready to go between the Glendale Raptors out of the Denver area and NOLA Gold here in the Crescent City at Archbishop Shaw Stadium. And these 2 teams on a day like this got some hydration, got a little bit of rest. And we saw what Nate Osborne told us, which is in the last 10 minutes of the half, we think we'll have the advantage with this heat. Did not take advantage of it. We'll see if in the first 10 minutes, the NOLA Gold can get some points on the board and get back into this game. That's right, and I think that for NOLA Gold, this first 10 minutes is going to be critical. They didn't start the game well. They really struggled, so they need to be able to, on this kickoff, get this kickoff, play a little bit with the ball, don't kick it back immediately. See what you can do, see if you can put some pressure on Glendale and see if you can break them. And the second half is underway as Matt Houston is on the take for NOLA Gold. Can they start quickly and get back in this? Younger. Nice tackle on Chad Joseph playing number 8 today. This is Fita, who got kicked in the face in the first half. Welcome to rugby, baby. JP Eloff with a nice dummy. Stiff arm and then tackled.
And this is what
probably needs to rock more in the second half.
They do, but that's what NOLA need to do. Hold on to the ball. I think if they can hold on to it for a few phases, they've shown the ability to be able to break Glendale.
Halliman over to Harley Davidson. Revs his way near the midway line, avoids the tackle, ball pops out on the knock-on. And the whistle comes. Knocked on, and NOLA Gold will get it back. And that's something that comes into play when it's humid. That ball becomes a bar of soap.
It does. It does. These, and particularly these MLR balls, I think, in the humidity become quite difficult. And it's these
we can't scrum on this
balls
side,
popping out has been a real challenge for Glendale.
Like
you can see right here, it just popped out. He brought it back in. He had it nice and tight, and it just came out. And actually, some great footwork by Harley Davidson to be able to get around Chad Joseph. They had a mismatch there when you have a wing on a number 8, but Chad Joseph came back and actually made that hit to be able to get the knock on. Again, just like you said,
a bit family friendly.
Jerome, what we want is we want the ball in JP Elof's hands, see what he can do, use his feet. He's been very dangerous so far.
And you see this scrum was moved inside more because the grass is better there as Howden with a bruising run.
Again, good go forward, but just a little bit too slow. The NOLA forwards aren't quite getting into position quickly enough.
John Sullivan on the take. Here's Matt Houston, who it's Houston versus Dylan Fawcett in a mullet off in this matchup.
Some great haircuts we've got out there. Some great haircuts.
Great to some. Bursick. Youngert. Howden, the captain, opts to kick into space and no one's home. Nice choice. Will it stay in? Cruze picks it up.
Not much of a kick chase here by NOLA, so Cruze can hold on to the ball.
And he does. Gets out to the 22. And a knock on. And
Little knock on you.
Glendale turns it over, so NOLA will have an opportunity here at the 22 as Silk is slow to get up.
Well, we talked about how NOLA needed to be able to stay in the first 10 minutes, and Glendale have been able to give this to them just by making some errors. So good choice there by Cruze to run, but what you'll see is he doesn't post the ball, he throws it back. And when the ball comes back, it hits Sean Davies in the hand. You don't want to do that. Post the ball back, put it down with no movement so your scrum half can play it. But because Cruze threw it back, very, very difficult. Very difficult for him to field it. Good attacking position here. I would expect them actually to be able to go down the blind side, see what they can do with Soak in the matchup against Cruze on that blind side.
Elof taken away, bounced forward.
Flat with the player. Knock on.
And it's a knock on, and Glendale had a chance there. Bryce Campbell, he was staring down the try zone for a moment there.
Interception number 3. So one of the reasons why there's interceptions is because the ball that NOLA are producing is just a little bit too slow. Slow ball allows the defense to get off the line quickly. It allows them to close down that space. Although we haven't had an offside call yet by the referee. So when the referee doesn't call offside, defenses creep offside until he'll call it. So I expect him to call an offside soon on Glendale as they begin to creep a little bit in front of that back foot.
Set. Far side. Okay, yeah, we'll just come away from that spot. It's a clear slip.
It's a great look right here. It's Ben Tarr versus Blake Rogers. And what you'll see is on the engage, they're going to come, and they're going to come in there. Looks pretty good, and you know, I think Blake Rogers said, hey, I lost that. Referee's on the other side. I'm going to take that down. You can see that from his elbow. He slipped. He said he slipped. The AR should help him there. But now you can see Asman is on that side saying, all right, I want to look and see what's going on here.
This one holds up. Great audio. Be able to hear in the scrum there. And NOLA Gold down 14, trying to chip away at this lead. And number 8, Chad Joseph. Recycled to Bursick. Youngert for a second was going to take it himself. Give it to the captain, Taylor Howden.
Yeah, good work.
Younger to Cameron Falcon, the hooker. Starting over Eric Howard with Team Canada.
6. No problem. All backwards.
Loose. Was it knocked on all backwards, says Chris Osmus.
Leave it now. Leave it now.
Very messy and very slow by NOLA. They're really struggling to make the right decisions to get the ball to the right people.
Matt Houston, who can be dynamic on the field in space.
No. Use it.
Comes Younger.
You can see the forwards. Cameron Falcon's really struggling to get into position here. I think his first start, I think he's really struggling to support the ball. And you can see all the NOLA forwards are just a little bit too flat. Very difficult for them to be able to play.
Intercepted! Intercepted, and Will McGee on his horse will dot this one down for 5 points. And another interception, but this time it goes the distance as Glendale tacks on another 5.
So we talked about how slow the ball was, and that allowed the Glendale defense to get up in their face. And you can see right here, just a little bit too slow. The pass it's actually very, very well read by McGee there. I think the Bursic thought he had it. McGee read it really well, filled that space, and was able to go the whole way. It's a bit of a heartbreaker for NOLA because the first part of the second half they've been up and they've been playing some good stuff. Yeah. Just too slow and their structure isn't in place. I think their forwards are really struggling to get around the field. Nate Osborne's going to have to make some changes sooner than he would like. He doesn't have as deep a bench as Glendale with some of the injuries that they've had. And so, but I think he has to go to them. I think he needs some fresh legs on the field, and he needs them pretty quickly.
And those reserves end up being the finishers of a game that can come in and make a big impact, especially when you have some tired legs in this one. So Will McGee, who will join the USA Eagles and was with them earlier this week in his hometown, in his stadium even, there at Infinity Park. Monday through Wednesday, rejoined Glendale with his 5 other teammates. And he has 9 points today on the try, plus a couple of conversions, and he'll try and tack on a 3rd one and push this out to 26-5.
Well, I think he's making a statement to USA coach Gary Gold about wanting to start against Russia next weekend. I think he's having a tremendous game.
And that game's in Denver, which is awesome, June 9th. Scotland in Houston on June 16th, and Canada in Halifax on June 23rd. Conversion looks good. And is good. 3 for 4 for Will McGee, and it's up to 26-5, 11 points for the fly half from London.
So kickoffs, and here comes Nate Osborne
1, 2, and 3
with the subs that I talked about. He's just subbed the whole of the front row. He sees that they were really struggling to get about the field, and he's going to look for these fresh legs to really make a difference.
So fresh blood in for NOLA Gold. We'll see when Glendale goes more to the bench as well as we get later on in this one. And right now, the Gold down by 3 scores.
And remember, Glendale are down to 14 players. They still have the yellow card. Sam Figg should be coming on shortly, but for them to be able to score down to 14 is impressive.
Yeah, Figg was in the sin bin for like 3 full minutes, so you wonder how much extra time versus actual time he's going to get. As this ball, initially, it looked like Cameron Troxler wanted to go quick, but it bounced away from him. So throwing for NOLA Gold, trying to get something going. We mentioned in the first half, they had the ball on the 1 meter line, couldn't punch it in, turned it over, an interception. And here you see the new hooker, Alec Janatka.
Just came in from New York this week, but had played with NOLA Gold during the preseason, so not completely new, but the lineup's going to be a struggle with a new hooker, and it's been a struggle already for them.
Not straight. Good. No, not straight.
Yeah. The lineup's got to be straight. It was not. So scrum coming up for Glendale. You mentioned New York. Rugby United
number 20
New York,
blue, blood reversal.
Member, they will join the league coming next
Sinbin's
year.
up as well.
Not to mention a few other teams in the mix. So another look at that lineup.
So they, it has to be down the middle, and most referees will say down the middle is actually where the shoulders are. So it has to be outside the shoulders, and you can see when the ball came in, it went straight to the NOLA player's chest. When it goes direct to the chest, the referee will say that's not straight. Even though most of the time, that's the jumper coming into the tunnel, and the hooker will say, don't jump in the tunnel. I can get it to you, but they came into the tunnel, they made it not straight. Then they'll have a chance to really put the game away early, right here.
Davies calling for it. Maggie, Cruze, inside the 22. and then knocked on. And a nice run of play and string of phases can end that quickly with the knock on. It was Bryce Campbell who dropped it.
Yeah, really solid scrum, nice play, really nice run by Cruze, was able to pass it inside. So the solid scrum, Sam Fig just back out on the field, okay, was able to add Sean David,
just send them all on, please.
Great hands by Maggie back inside, Cruz is right there. And if this goes to hand, it's probably a try, but I think Campbell looked up before the ball was in his hands, which is, you know, something that you tell even the young kids, watch the ball into your hands.
So Rogers, Fita, and Dahl go out. Some subs come in for Glendale, so fresh blood in the scrum coming up. As NOLA Gold's Holden Younger, who's been the #9 on the MLR Team of the Week twice this year. Let's see Fafita go off.
He had quite a college career. He was at St. Mary's College in California, and he went to, in his 5 years, he went to 5 national championship games. He won 2 of them, and he was the MVP in 2017. So pretty impressive collegiate career.
Stay there, 9.
Teammate with Holden Younger at the scrum half. NOLA Gold as that ball's...
Yeah, ball out. Ball clearly out.
And look at Davies, tackle. There, and Matt Houston ends up with it. And now NOLA Gold with some possession. They need a score.
Ball backwards, leave it, leave it, leave it. Move!
NOLA trying to get something in space, keeping it pretty tight.
Fresh legs providing some defensive pressure. Luke White very fast up there.
And Howden will kick.
Nothing.
Cruze over his head and in touch.
So if you are inside, if the ball, the source of possession, when you win the ball is inside the 22, you can kick for touch and you gain the ground. But if the ball is passed back into the 22 and then you kick it out, you don't gain any ground. So you can see, even though that was a great kick, it was a real challenge. So
he crosses the 22.
Right, so here he crosses the 22, and that means that when the ball comes back, he is unable to kick it into touch, which is what he does.
So Howden went out of bounds with it, so it comes back to where he kicked it. So Glendale with a chance here on the line out. Dylan Fawcett, the Irish-American hooker, played for Rugby United, a little bit in the creases, and here comes the maul from Glendale.
Use it once!
They've set it up really well here, but you can see the referee say use it
once.
Now,
leave it now.
You're only allowed to stop the maul. The maul, if it stops once, then it's okay, but if it stops twice, it's a turnover.
Back here, 18.
So they had to break the maul and keep the ball in hand.
Glendale trying to chip away. Played back for Fig. Working in a phone booth here. About 8 meters out. It's always a man's game, but it's especially a man's game at this part of the field.
That's right. The last 5 meters is always the most difficult to get over. And NOLA's defense solid right now.
All backwards.
White spills it forward, and that's going to be a knock-on. And there's the whistle.
Wow, so many handling errors by Glendale. It's really preventing them from being able to put the game away, keeping NOLA in it. But NOLA are down their own end. They need to be able to, they're going to have to find some magic to be able to open up this Glendale defense and then get the support that allows them to be effective.
Yeah, the ball stationary, scrum stationary, we need you to use it.
Hear the conversation from Chris Osmus. There's Bryce Campbell, who is signed with Tier 2 team in England, London Irish. USA Eagle as well.
Yeah, recently Tier 1, so they're trying to get back up and they're trying to get some new blood in. And
they've signed Campbell to get him back to Tier 1.
That's right.
There you go. 26-5, 55 minutes gone by here in New Orleans.
Just stand here.
Howden in his own try zone will kick this one into touch, and this time he's behind the 22, so a line out near the 10-meter line for Glendale again. So far, like the first half, Glendale has dominated possession to start the half. They scored
on the line,
19
Glendale
points in the first 20 minutes.
That's right. I mean, but they should have had more, but with some struggles, and it looks like that
inside the line out.
Glendale are getting the edge in the line out, but actually NOLA are getting the edge in the scrum. And JP Eloff is out, which is a bit of a loss for NOLA because he's the guy that's really opened the door.
Yeah, you didn't have a lot of possession there in the first half, and so coming off of missing 3 games with chemical meningitis, he is out.
Just stay 7. Good work.
Davies.
Stop, 17!
McGee. Nice catch in the air by Jojo Tico Suva. Harley Davidson was the target for McGee.
Tico Suva did so well. Great to get back on his feet and be able to play, and now NOLA have a chance to be able to play a little bit.
Initially held up, but then Chris Osmond said tackle, meaning let go. So NOLA maintains possession. Younger looking for somebody to get through a crease. Howden, excuse me. Kicked forward from Bursick. Picked up by McGee, who returns to sender. Younger.
Exactly what you don't want as a NOLA player to do. You get the break. Bursick did so well, and then he tried to kick it. Not what you want, especially not what you want from your lock when you actually had the chance to win the ball going forward. Now here at Glendale again, pinning NOLA into their half. NOLA just can't get out right now.
Now, one of the big questions coming into the game was how both teams would respond in the humidity. As you see, an attempted kick. I guess he got it off his ankle, not the best kick, and then McGee took it. But Holden Younger shaved his sideburns. I took real issue with that. I thought that was going to be a season-long thing, but he shaved them a few weeks ago. We'll see if they return for a playoff run. Cruze, Halliman, had Davidson with lots of space on the outside. Davies.
Use it!
White. Churning his way towards the 22. McGee.
Advantage for the knock. Leave it now.
Big hit and then a knock on advantage played for NOLA Gold on the big hit. Younger.
Another knock on by Glendale there, and that was, I think that was Malifa. That's an experienced player. But here we are, it's the knock-ons that are keeping NOLA in the game, but you can see the players on the field really struggling with this heat. And actually, NOLA's defense in that situation is really doing a good job of putting pressure on Glendale and generating those turnovers. It's keeping them in the game, but they need to get out of their half. They're going to have to do something to get out of their half. They've either got to kick past the Glendale back 3 to be able to turn them, make them go back, or they've got to find a crease that they can get some go forward and play it with their, keep the ball and go forward.
NOLA's been good at home, 2-1, 0-2 on the road, so been able to defend their home turf rather well. Down 21 right now, trying to make a comeback. Howden.
Taking back, boys.
Yeah. Goes into touch, and he was outside the 22, so another kicking error from Howden. The first one you understand a little better. Not sure if he could see that Houston went out, but that time goes a little too deep and into touch, so the kick comes back to where it was taken.
So I could see what Taylor Howden wanted to do. What he saw was that Cruze was up, and he wanted to drive the ball behind him. He just kicked it too well, and it just flew out. But again, it was an opportunity for NOLA to relieve the pressure, and just wasn't able to do it.
Go in. No problem.
One, all forms. Not used, quickly
forward pass from number 9.
And a forward pass from Sean Davies, the former BYU All-American and 2-time national champion. Approaching the 60th minute. Both these teams probably have an eye on that hydration break coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's really become quite scrappy here. There's not a lot of continuity going on. So you can see Malifa coming through. He had a good line, but that's actually really hard to get that timing right on that pass with that 9s running across the field, and particularly when you have a sub in to make that run, it becomes really, really difficult to get that timing right. And we've just got a lot of scrums, a lot of lineouts, and not a huge amount of continuity.
Seconds in.
Crouch. Bind.
Glendale with 63% of the possession in this game thus far. Big number. They've been able to hold on to the ball for a long time. Fig. Davies. Trying to get that left stiff arm to fend into his defender. Ben Landry lays it back.
Leave it.
John Quill. A little bit of real estate now for Glendale. Still slow on the uptick for both teams here. Now wide where it can get chaotic, and here's a run.
Great hands.
Fig near the line, 2 meters out.
High tackle.
High tackle on NOLA Gold. Tap and go. NOLA defending at the try line.
Ball's available.
Use it. Goes quickly, and a big tackle as Cody O'Neill is taken down.
Great defense by NOLA. Double tackle, drove them back, gave them a little bit of space, and slowed down the Glendale attack.
Crowd gets into it a bit here. Now they go wide. The keeper, and then the offload, and dotted down. Glendale gets another 5 as a nice run from Atamalifa. Set that one up.
Smart, experienced player from New Zealand. It's a beautiful inside run, was able to pass that ball. Really great stuff. And NOLA could only hold off for so long. They've really worked hard in the last 10 minutes. They've been on defense. They've been inside or close to their 22. They've been defending, and it's been really tough. But you can just see the line that happens here. Great play by Luke White, and then attacks the outside shoulder. Beautiful run on the inside by Fenolio, who is one of those stars off the bench, former Eagle and former player of the week. That's someone very, very cool to pull off the bench, and his experience just ran off Malifa's shoulder. Too easy. Too many chances that NOLA had to be able to clear that they didn't take.
Okay, we'll step aside. A try and a conversion are good. 31-5, Glendale up big in New Orleans.
Get ready, then rest.
That way you can put it right back in the bucket. We also have Steve Hazel.
Teams fighting for playoff position. 7 teams in the league. Top 4 make the playoffs. And Glendale up 33-5 after the Zach Fenolio try. And the conversion was good by Will McGee. 33-5 here in the 64th minute. Here in New Orleans, hydration break, which is much needed for both of these teams. Not to mention Pete, he took it seriously as well, got hydrated during the break. But these teams fighting for the playoffs. June 30th in Glendale, the semifinals, and then a week later, the championship match in San Diego. And Seattle and Glendale look like they're going to be in the playoffs. The other 5 spots are up for grabs.
Well, I mean, I think if Glendale were able to finish this, I agree with you. I think they're in the playoffs. I think San Diego not being in the top 4 despite their strength is a real challenge. And even for NOLA right here, if they can get 3 more tries, they get a bonus point. And as we said before, Houston, who are 1-5, actually aren't out of the playoffs because of their bonus point situation.
Shorter kick, but it's long enough. Got to be 10 meters, and nicely done, taken down by Ratu Rinakama off the bench. He can be a playmaker in space.
All backwards. And
ball backwards, still good, but that one looked like it might have been a knock-on for a moment. Still in, and then into touch.
In touch.
Nice tackle. No part of the body can go out as Harley Davidson from Boise, age 25, with the tackle there.
And that's a little bit of NOLA's game. They do something really well. Howden has a great kickoff. Rinakama gets it in. It looks like they've got an opportunity.
No meeting.
And then their attack line is just too flat.
Let's go.
They're just too flat, and they just weren't able to execute that pass, and it ends up being a turnover.
Bit of gamesmanship by Glendale to take a brief breather as they discuss the lineout. Line out 1, Davies. McGee inside run to Fenoglio, the try scorer a moment ago. Davies, Holloman. Nice run by Seth Holloman. Out to midfield, drops it off to Dylan Fawcett. And then a knock on again.
Knock.
Out to Malifa.
Scrum advantage.
Played. NOLA trying to make something out of it. Brennan Falcon.
Advantage over.
Cameron's younger brother. There's Rena Kama. If he can get into space, he can be dangerous. Brennan Falcon again, pretty active early.
Advantage over from the knock, yeah. Number 8 to roll away.
I think that Nate Osborne has looked and said it's time to bring on some fresh people. You've got Macasina. So right here you can see the line break that Halloman had, and it was just a really, really nice line break. He looked up and he saw
13 or 14?
Prop Fenoglio in front of him. Sorry, Prop, not Van Klein in front of him, and said, I'm a fullback. Well? You aren't able to defend me, was able to get around. And another good run by Malifa, who's really had an impact, but just a little bit forward in the pass.
Alec Janatka.
Time on, please.
Let's get it back. I want it. I want it.
Successful line out from Janatka.
7.
And NOLA with its best field position of the second half. It's been a long time, almost 25 minutes in trying to get up to this point. Nice breaking run by Tonawea.
No problem, 2 feet behind.
NOLA needs points, and preferably 5 at this point. Sullivan.
They're playing with some pace that's really making them be able to break down the Glendale defense. But they've got to keep that pace up here.
Tonawea. Pick and jam. Some tough sledding.
16! Good work.
4 meters outside the try line.
Use it.
NOLA chipping away, trying to get 5 on. They need it here.
Stay back 2. Sorry, 10.
Try and get that bonus point at a minimum for 4 tries. Janatka.
Being very direct here, getting it to their forward, seeing if they're able just to find a seam. You can see Macasini urging his forwards to get round the corner to be able to go again. Strong defense so far here by Glendale.
Leave it 7.
Falcon releases. Matt Houston taking matters into his own hand.
Back here.
Nice tackle. Glendale stout so far.
Good work. 9, leave it! Vantage slowing the ball down, number 9.
Sean Davies.
I'm not looking at you go quickly if you intentionally knock the ball on. The 5 meters, no. Never again, please. Number 9, hands on the ground.
So Macasina.
This should be a scrum. They've got an edge in the scrum. They shouldn't be tapping this. Take the scrum. It's very hard to score from this situation without putting the forwards, all 8 defensive forwards in one place.
Macasini, Bursick. They're going to keep pounding on that door until it falls down. Now it goes wide. Inside and dotted down for the try. Cameron Troxler. Second try of the match for NOLA Gold, and this crowd has something to cheer about.
Behind the ball.
Well, we said 4 tries get them a point, and so they're halfway there. They were able to get into their half.
Sean, 7 and 15 sub.
Jerome, it was the first time they got in there and they got points. Now they need to do is to get the ball, get back into their half. They've shown if they can hold on to the ball for a few phases, they can break the Glendale defense. And we've always said it's the last 10 minutes of the half where there's going to be the biggest challenge. And you can see great pass back inside, great finish, and the crowd just love it.
Inside, inside, inside for 5 minutes. It felt like that Glendale having to defend. Finally it goes wide after the tap and go, and Cameron Troxler, the local guy, LSU grad out of Baton Rouge, about 90 minutes away, dots it down 33-10, and Taylor Howden, the captain, will try and tack 2 more on. And at this point, down 23 with about 13 minutes to go, you want this, you want 3 more tries and conversion, sure, but probably trying to get the 4 tries, at least get a point, get yourself something to separate from the pack a little bit.
I think so, and I think what we're going to see with Glendale is Glendale are going to keep the game slow. They're going to walk to the line out. They're going to do up their shoelaces. They're like, we've got this game in hand. We don't want to give NOLA the chance to get back into this game or to get those 2 tries, and we want to preserve ourselves because we have to play next weekend. So we're just going to keep it, and it's a short turnaround. So they play Sunday and then they play Friday. So preserving energy right now, you can already see very slowly coming up to the halfway.
You're right.
They're going to take their time, and I think we'll hear the referee talking to them a little bit.
Let's not go there again. It's been much better this half.
Into the last 10 minutes. We'll hear the referee talking, telling them to speed up a little bit.
So 11 minutes and change left in the match. The Raptors of Glendale up 33-10 on NOLA Gold.
NOLA will keep this in hand here, see what they can do by being able to play, even if they're in their own half. No point kicking it away here.
Macassini running the show now.
Tackle! Ryan!
Out and waiting for a moment. He'll finally kick it into touch for the lineup. You mentioned the Glendale schedule. They host Houston on Friday, so a quick turnaround with it without the 6 Eagles. Then Saturday, June 16th, they host Seattle. That's a big matchup potentially for the top spot going into the playoffs. And then at San Diego for NOLA Gold. They continue with hosting San Diego next Saturday. This Saturday, and then at the Utah Warriors in the Game of the Week on CBS Sports Network coming up on June 16th. Glendale hasn't played in 20 days, by the way. They should be well rested.
They should be well rested, but you also end up finding yourself not match sharp. That's also the challenge. So here we go, not straight in the line out, which means it's a scrum to NOLA. With the subs coming in, the scrum has actually been pretty good for NOLA. They've got an opportunity here. They've got Rinakama in, who's also, even though he's not JP Elof, he is a good runner, and they should have a go, see if they can get this other scrum.
And Jake Crispin will come in for Sean Davies, who shakes Chris Osmus's hand as he exits. So Davies is done for the day after 70 minutes. And the 18-year-old Jake Crispin from Indianapolis.
Crouch.
Is in to be the scrum half for the Glendale Raptors, up 23.
I think this is the first time in Major League Rugby that Glendale has not had Sean Davis on the field, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle it.
10 minutes to go, up 23, feeling comfortable enough.
No problem.
Offloaded backwards, but to the Raptors. Harley Davidson push back, and look at that tackle by Jojo Tico Suva.
Tico Suva's actually had a very good game. He's been really physical on defense, hasn't had the ball enough.
On backwards to nobody. Does it stay in bounds? It does not, despite the tiptoeing act by Mika Kruzek.
Good call, Josh.
Again, tired legs, just getting a little bit too flat. When you get too flat, it's very difficult to execute those passes. Timing is just
can we do it off. Can we do it later? We got to carry on.
If you want to tell who's a sub and who's not, just look at the brightness of white on the NOLA Gold jersey. I mean, it is a sweaty affair out there
every time.
for these guys. 72 minutes into this here at Archbishop Shaw Stadium in New Orleans.
Sub, now you can do it. Number 5.
Osmus calls for the sub. And more subs coming in.
Yeah, we just can't stop every time for if it's an equipment, then everyone's going to tie a boot or do a head lace, you know what I mean?
So you can hear the referee talking to Glendale, not to slow the game down, like I said.
Yes.
There's Sam Figg has a bit of an equipment problem. He has these sausages, they're called, on the legs of the line-out jumpers, and he came off and he wanted to get them done, and the referee was like, not every time can we stop for something like that. But the referee's whistle, I mean, the referee's watch actually stops. So when he stops, for moments like this, they're not killing any time. As you can see, the clock has stopped, which means that NOLA they still have just over 8 minutes to be able to get their 2 tries.
No problem.
4 tries total. They get
it's just not, if it's a quick fix, that's cool.
You get 4 points for a win. You get a point for 4 more tries, and then if you lose by 7 or fewer, you get a point as well. So that's how the Seattle Seawolves can be 5-1, and on top of the table, they have played 2 more games. But things will start to level out a little more as we just have a couple of more weeks after this one.
Advantage for the knock-on off
Major
Gold.
League Rugby season.
Scrum
Top
advantage.
4 out of the 7 teams make the playoffs. Glendale number 2 currently. They cannot pass Seattle in the standings today with any kind of result, but they can get close.
Knock-on from
That
Gold.
one knocked on from NOLA.
In the line-out, it's on the 15th.
So Glendale will bring it up and have a scrum here.
Yeah.
So as we've said, this game, I think the conditions have really affected the ability for the players to be able to execute as they've gone on. We've had a lot of scrums, a lot of times, a lot of handling errors, balls going into touch, and I'm not sure if you're not here. We're sitting here in air conditioning, and I'm still sweating. That's how hot it is outside.
Yeah.
Like the air conditioning, it can only do so much when you're in the 90s outside.
Not to mention Chris Osmus, the ref. He's running around out there as well. We appreciate you watching this one. Glendale 33, NOLA Gold 10. Ball goes wide to Cruze. And another knock-on. My goodness. Glendale's going to win this and potentially handily. But there have been a number of handling errors that if they fix, this would be well and away out of reach. Might be at this point, but certainly some things to work on after 20 days off.
So, you know, great line, great run. Pass is a little bit behind. You want that pass to actually be in front of the player so they can run onto the ball. But I think the Ryberg would expect to catch that, even if it's on his back shoulder.
In the line out, please.
And probably just a little bit too eager. Some of these subs coming in, just launching their run a little bit too early.
In the line out, please.
Making it tough.
Stand here, 16. Perfect.
Successful line out on the quick, short kind. Rinakama up to Howden.
Great defense by Malifa there, able to come up. And it was actually Malifa's tackle where he launched up and was able to take that allowed Fenolio, I think, right there to get over the ball and get that turnover. So two very experienced players working together. But it was really Malifa's launch and tackle on Howden that isolated him and allowed that turnover to happen.
So Will McGee, one of the 6 Glendale players who will leave the team and go to USA camp and prepare for those 3 test matches. Goes into touch. Line out coming for Glendale.
On the line, NOLA.
And that's why this win is so important for them. Because this win pretty much guarantees they're going to be in the playoffs.
Don't stop, keep going, please.
The next 3 games are going to be tough, especially against Seattle, top of the table clash, and San Diego. So I think they're going to be very happy to walk away with a win and a bonus point here, and they can feel comfortable. Even without their Eagles, they're going to have a shot.
Knock on from Blue.
Knock on from Glendale. It'll be interesting to see who else is affected as well. Obviously,
we'll come over here.
Phil Mack, the scrum half for Seattle in the Canada camp. Yeah. Kurt Marath, gone from the Utah Warriors, the fly half. One of the top 2 scorers in the league with Will McGee, gone from the Utah Warriors. So
it's good for you.
It's that time of year. It's June. It's hot. It's time to play some fun international ones. I know you were on the call for Wales, South Africa yesterday at RFK in DC. So it's a fun time of year, but MLR, you're going to see how the depth is affected, especially for teams like Glendale and San Diego.
And that's true for the professional leagues around the world. When there's an international window, there's a requirement for the international players to be released and to be able to play with their international teams. So around the world, professional teams have their depth tested when international matches are on the docket.
Nikola Bursic, as NOLA Gold's trying to do their best to get a bonus point, get 2 tries here in the last 4 minutes. The ball's still in.
Out 20.
White with the tackle.
Number 20, never onside.
Cody O'Neill offside for Glendale. In the final moments here.
Yeah, Mark's here just in front. Number 20, never onside.
Stadium.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Macasina really wanted to tap that from inside their 22. Their line out has actually been fixed a little bit, I think, with some of their subs. They've won their last 2. So kick to touch, and let's see if they can play, see if they can get in and get this try.
Okay, here's the playoff schedule. June 30th at Infinity Park, home of the Raptors. The 2 semifinals, a fun doubleheader that night, and then the final, July 9th, 9 Eastern at Torero Stadium in San Diego, California. Go to usmlr.com for tickets.
Advantage for the knock.
Should be a fun playoff here in the inaugural season of Major League Rugby. 33-10, 3 minutes to go.
I think NOLA are going to be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
They you know, if you think about it, they went down 19-0, and then since then, it's been a competitive game. But their poor start again, just like last week, put them in the hole that they weren't able to dig out of. And I think their starts has been something that has challenged them throughout the week. Sorry, throughout the season. And I think it's something that they're going to have to find to fix if they're going to make the playoffs.
And here's a look at young Jake Chrisman, the scrum half sub, as the ball gets stripped and then kicked. And NOLA with some possession here and then taken into touch.
Well, that's what you're going to see over the next 3 weeks, is you're going to see some young players being able to go, and here they go quick. Smart play if they want to be able to score their tries.
Tico Silva. Knocked on. And look at Sam Fig go. Sam Fig inside the 22. Howden trying to chase him down. Tackles him, but he knocks it down for the try. And the exclamation point is in for the Glendale Raptors, up 38-10.
Well, you know, the Raptors in their patterns haven't done a great job, but they have definitely fed off the mistakes of NOLA right here. Drop ball, great pickup, being able to finish the whole way using Sam Fig,
the
Australian sevens player, using his pace to be able to get over the line and finish it. And so they've had some long distance scores, being able
almost 77 minutes.
Take advantage, but they haven't built as well as they would like. I know Dave Williams is going to walk away from this game. You look at the score and you say 38-10, but Dave's very much a process guy. He goes, no, we didn't play our structures, we had too many errors, and we know in a different game, in a different situation, those things are going to come back to hurt us. So even though this is the first time they've really had an easy win, I think Glendale will come away from this feeling like they have a lot to work on.
Sam Fig, born in Johannesburg, South Africa, but grew up in Sydney, says he should have been a golfer. Would have been a little less contact in that one. Will McGee attempting to put another two-pointer through the uprights. And missed your accuracy, does it again. He's just missed one today.
77-20.
And it's now 40-10. So about 2.5 minutes left in this one. NOLA seeing if they can't tack on another here. If they were to get 2 more tries, they'd get a bonus point. But looking like they'll come out with 0 today, and the Raptors looking like they'll come out with 5. And a quick one by Taylor Howden didn't go 10 meters. If he does, that's like a college football quick onside kick. If
that's exactly what that is. That is an onside kick in football. He looked up, he said, hey, let's try something, but he just wasn't able to get it to go 10. So I don't think Taylor Howden's had one of his better games. He's had some real kicking problems. He had 2 chances to clear the lines when he kicked it directly to touch. He's obviously, as the captain, trying to do something to lift his team, but it's a real struggle. Now, the interesting thing about the time in rugby is that the time is actually kept by the referee. So in the referee's watch, we are not yet to 80 minutes. And so he'll be talking to the players about how much time is left. And once his watch hits 80 minutes and then the ball goes dead, that's when the game will be up.
Young Jake Chrisman, the scrum half, running the show now. On the outside, nice run by John Ryberg. Chrisman. Sam Fig.
Back 7
a moment ago. Had the yellow card in the first half. Quick working. Bryce Campbell dragging his defender about 7 meters out. There's Ben Landry, who's gone almost a full 80 in his first week back after the suspension. Advantage for a knock-on from Glendale. Here's NOLA Gold.
Under pressure the whole time. Knock-on.
Trying to do something in front of their post. You never want to see that, but you know, it's what they need to do. And yet another knock-on by Glendale. Luke White taking the ball, took it hard, lost the ball forward. I mean, I think
just forwards out on the wing.
It's sort of one of these unusual games for Glendale where you won by 30, you scored 40 points, but the video Dave Williams can really clip out a video here that can keep these guys focused for the next 3 weeks.
And as a former coach, this is the best kind of video, right? Hey, we won by 30. We've got a lot to work on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think it's the sort of game that you can really end up putting a lot of work into, and especially with the loss of players, he wants to keep them focused as they go into the key part of the season.
Crouch.
So for Glendale, after this game, it's much more about their seeding that they get in the top 4.
Set.
They do not want to be 4th, and they really want to get a good seed, so they're able to get out of the semifinals at home and into the finals in San Diego.
Yeah, 24 points after today. 1 point shy of Seattle was a good spot to be in. NOLA, last-ditch effort for Jojo Tico Suva, the winger, and no support, so he loses the ball. Cruze.
What a talent Cruze is in this game. You can just see as a 19-year-old, he's going to be someone who's so exciting. He can play in the centers, he can play fullback, and he can play on the wing. And I thought he's had a really excellent game.
Campbell, the grubber into this area. Still alive, has it, and dots it down. What a play by Bryce Campbell.
Let's listen to the referee and see what he says.
Touch? No. Try? Yes.
And it is a try for Bryce Campbell. The grubber down the sideline gets the perfect bounce back to himself. And 45-10 is the score for Glendale.
Bryce Campbell really putting the cherry on the top. Those are the sort of tries that you score that you remember for a long time. He looks up, he gets the ball here.
In a way, it's good you're getting punished for your mistakes.
By the inside backs. He gets the ball, he looks up, players are coming across. So the player is coming across to make the tackle. He puts the ball on the foot, follows it up, and just gets the bounce. Great play. It's always tough to defend. We've seen 2 tries, one by each team from grubbers. The thing about the oval shape of the ball is you don't know where it's going to bounce. So when you make that grubber, you run up and you hope it bounces into your hands.
And twice in that area of the field, it's gone to the kicker or the kicking team. Yeah.
So Soak in the first half for NOLA, and then Campbell there for Glendale at the end. And toughest kick of the day here for Will McGee, and probably last kick of the game.
7th try for Glendale, and McGee has made all but one his conversions. Team USA, that might be your guy, and that'll do it.
Thanks.
47-10 the final. The Glendale Raptors come all the way down to New Orleans and take care of business by 37, scoring 7 tries in this humid, crazy game. We'll tell you how it went down coming up after the break, but Glendale maintains 2nd place in MLR with a blowout win in New Orleans. Major League Rugby is brought to you by Westera Credit Union, the official credit union of the Glendale Raptors. Carry the Raptors experience. Tullamore Dew, the original triple blend Irish whiskey. And by Guinness, a proud partner of the Glendale Raptors. Guinness, made of more. Final score from Archbishop Shaw Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Glendale Raptors come in and take care of business. 47-10, a 7-try day for the Raptors as they get it done, get the 4 points for the win, the bonus for scoring at least 4 tries, and NOLA comes out with 0 in this one. And Glendale says so long to the 6 Eagles. Some of the highlights from today of our man of the match, Will McGee, presented by O'Brien Rugby. He had a day.
He really did. I mean, I thought that his management of the game was great. His handling was great. His kicking off the tee was spectacular. And right here, he had that long backbreaker for NOLA that really, you know, for NOLA were up in their line. It's a turnover, and he took it all the way. And I think that was the turning point.
Will McGee is on headset down on the field. Will, first tell us, what was it like playing in this kind of humidity and heat?
Yeah, it's slightly different to the altitude of Denver, but we knew it was going to be tough playing below sea level instead of quite far above sea level. But the boys and the medical staff really helped us hydrate, and ice bags at half-time, change of shirts, stuff like that, so it really helped us on the field.
You obviously had a really dominating win here. How does it feel to be able to, as you're about to leave the team, put them in a position where playoffs are pretty secure and you're going to be gone for 3 weeks off with the US Eagles? So how does it feel to finish it today?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, that was the aim, 5 from 5 before we lose, well, hopefully lose a few boys if selected. But we've got some great guys coming through to fill those spots, so we know this team's just going to be as strong. And those boys that are stepping up, we have a next man up mentality, and they're going to take the opportunity and hopefully keep up this winning streak.
Your film's been good. I think some of the kicks, you should send those to the Team USA guys, right?
Hopefully they're watching it, but no, yeah.
Well, thanks, Will. We appreciate it. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Will McGee, our man of the match, presented by O'Brien Rugby. What a day he had. A 7-try performance, went 6 for 7. Congratulations. As the Glendale Raptors come away with the 47-10 win. This is what's coming this week. Seattle at Austin. Austin playing good ball right now. That'll be a challenge. Seattle, top team in the league right now. Houston at Glendale without 6 of those Eagles. And then San Diego comes here to the Heat, their turn, at NOLA Gold. Well, what a fun time we had here in New Orleans. 47-10 Glendale. For my partner, Pete Steinbeck, and our entire crew, that'll do it from New Orleans. Glendale wins it 47-10.